Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
Saints camp earlier today as the Saints were on the practice field for the second consecutive day. Still just in helmets, jerseys, and shorts. So nothing. I don't know if there's too much to get into. Dennis Allen, after practice today, did give an update, sort of a brief injury update. Not a ton to highlight, but here was Dennis Allen after practice.
I thought another good practice. You know, we had a few guys that didn't finish practice today. Colin Saunders with an illness. Shaq Davis and Keith Kirkwood, just a little heat related. Trevor Penning missed today with a foot injury. Stay today. I expect he'll be out here tomorrow or the next day, but we'll see where he's at tomorrow. But overall, I think still pretty good health. The guys are competing out there. I thought it was a spirited practice today, so I thought it was a step forward from yesterday. Tomorrow will be much the same, a little bit longer practice tomorrow, put on some shells, but we're still not in pads yet, so that's where we're at.
You know, Dennis Allen has kind of said how they're broaching this. They're kind of stair-stepping. Day one was about a 90-minute practice. Today, about an hour 45. They'll keep building toward a full padded practice. What was interesting today is that we did get to hear from Jameis Winston. And look, let's just be honest. It's not very often that the backup quarterback is going to be made available to the media. It's just generally not a story. But when the backup was the starter and was a guy who many thought could be the starter and the eventual franchise, it is relevant when he accepts a role. And Dennis Allen actually talked about this earlier today, about Jameis accepting the fact that he is Derek Carr's backup and what his role is on this team.
Jameis has embraced his role. He's doing everything he can to help Derek out, as well as working his tail off to improve himself. And so I like his mindset as we, went through all of OTAs, minicamp, and we start this training camp. I like his mindset and where he's at, and he's continuing to work.
I do want you to hear from Jameis Winston, though, and I want to play number one if we could, Muse. The interesting thing about Jameis, obviously, is he's a guy that when the Saints signed him back in 2020, he came with the perception of, interceptions and crab legs. That was it, right? Guy throws a ton of picks, and he stole crab legs. I mean, that was all the jokes. But the point that I made a lot during those years and during that time was, look, since then, Jameis was undoubtedly an immature young guy. Now, you can't argue to the contrary. He just was. But sometimes getting married, having children, forces you as a man, as a husband, as a father, to mature as a person. And 28-year-old Jameis was a dramatically different person, maturity-wise, than 18, 19, 20-year-old Jameis. And I think you continue to hear that when you hear him talk. Like, here was Jameis talking about, like, what changed in his offseason going into this year, knowing he's a backup as opposed to competing for the starting job.
Yeah, preparation changed in terms of not overtraining, not doing as much as I've done in the past, more corrective things from my body, more intentional things, small thing. Marginalism, that's a big thing that I focus on this offseason, just doing small increments of things and continue to improve.
On top of that, one more from Jameis, can you play number 3, please? He was asked about his decision to stay in New Orleans as a backup.
It wasn't, because I'm grateful for this opportunity to be the quarterback here, and I know I'm not finished here. I love this city. I love our fans. I love y'all guys. On most of the days. But no, it's a privilege to be in the NFL, and anytime you have an opportunity to be a quarterback, especially one of the 32, and I do know that I'm still one of those 32. Just my role here is to help uplift our one so we can get us the Super Bowl, right? And I love that.
Jameis Winston earlier today after Saints practice. And, when one of the other topics we discussed after day one in part was Derek Carr and his relationship with Chris Olave. And the reason I think that was significant, the point that I made if you were here on Wednesday's show, was the reason I nerd out on things like minicamp and OTAs, while I understand most of you do not. Like I'm telling you, I readily understand. Most of you do not nerd out on OTAs, minicamp, and all the different off-season work when guys are just on field stretching their legs and whatnot. The reason it can be impactful is because of things like Derek Carr and Chris Olave getting their time together. So now that they're in camp, it's like it's old hat. They've done it before. So we heard Derek Carr essentially say that yesterday. Today, Chris Olave talked about going out to Las Vegas this offseason as well and working with Derek Carr there.
It helped a lot. I mean, just getting out there and throwing some, just one-on or with some of the guys, developing the routes, developing the timing, the wording. Just building chemistry going into training camp, I feel like it helped a lot. And getting out there in the heat, trying to go out there and practice, it prepared us for the heat out here. So,
chemistry. He used the same word there as well. Them building that chemistry, that continuity, and you need that with a quarterback and a receiver, obviously, and they're starting to build it. So the Saints still a couple of weeks away from the first preseason game. Only one home preseason game. Remember, there's 3 preseason games now. So 1 at home, and there'll be 2 on the road. But Saints will have 1 preseason. The preseason opener will be at home, and then they'll be on the road twice in the preseason as we move toward the start of the regular season.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.